we saw Napoleon. When was the last time we saw Ridley Scott and Joaquin Phoenix? It was Gladiator.
Yeah, and he directed him to an Oscar nomination.
Yeah. Napoleon, it felt like a natural follow-up, like a natural progression of Gladiator. Just kind of this and playing like an really emperor did. And then now playing, Emperor Napoleon the First.
I think about this movie a lot since we've seen it. Mm-hmm. It's a weird movie. Mm-hmm. It's got, but I can't really ID the...
Napoleon is like this weird figure where the space he occupies in the in the consciousness, because it's like Napoleon, I know the Napoleon character, but I prior to this movie I didn't really know very much about Napoleon as a historical figure. This definitely filled in a bunch of gaps. It was very informative. Hopefully it's true, because, to a large degree, because otherwise I got a head full of bad information. But yeah, mostly I knew him as I think the only other movie I saw with Napoleon in it was Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah, so the three, I'm not a historian or anything, but the tenets of my Napoleon knowledge, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, I think he popped up on Tiny Toon Adventures or Animaniacs or one of those shows.
And I think part of it is just the fun of the word Waterloo.
Yes. We were waiting for an ABBA musical cue in there. And the other one is the guy dressed as Napoleon in the Time Life novelty song commercial where he's singing "They're Coming to Take Me Away" in the canoe, mock rowing. I'm like, I learned everything I knew about Napoleon from
that. Because that was the thing. It was that was a cliche too that you'd see in a lot of movies and stuff. Is you'd have some sort of institution, and there'd be a bunch of different characters, and one of them would be a guy who thinks he's Napoleon, dressed up like Napoleon, and he's got his hand in his shirt. There was another Napoleon thing? I'm trying to think what it was. It was a movie or a TV show or something that had Napoleon in it, and then he takes his hand out, and his hand is metal. It's a metal hand or something.
The bit I was gonna do it. I don't know if maybe I'm ripping this off from. I don't think they did this in Bill and Ted, but you could have them teach Napoleon how to fart with his arm.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So this is the extent of my knowledge of Napoleon. Is all these. And when I was a kid, when we talk about Goulardi and stuff, tonight on ABC, Napoleon and Josephine. A great love story. It was the story of Napoleon and Josephine. So these are, and I never saw Napoleon. Napoleon and Josephine looked just super boring to me. But it's I knew, just from those commercials with Goulardi doing the voiceover, I knew that they're this famous couple that I guess something bad happens to them at the end or something.
I knew he was exiled.
Right. I knew about the exile, which was also good, and I think they play on that a little bit because he gets exiled and dies in exile. So in the movie, when he gets into his first exile and then he escapes, it's whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah, I didn't. I was.
And it's he was exiled more than once. Okay, now I get
it. Before the film, I was I looked up St. Helena on Google Maps and was trying to see his grave, and I didn't realize that he was buried there. Then they exhumed his body. But I was looking on St. Helena for a Taco Bell. I was trying to find the main street of where he was, and I see if there what kind of fast food options.
Yeah.
If they had
there's
any
a
on
McDonald's or something. Now, so Napoleon's from Corsica. You would assume he's from Paris or something. He's from Corsica. Isn't that where Franco Colombo is from? Sardinia.
I feel like
so Napoleon's Italian. Joaquin Phoenix was good also because people think they're Napoleon. That makes you think when you see Napoleon in a movie that he's going to be a little bit goofy. And then he does have this reputation of being a goofball. And so then Joaquin Phoenix, a goofball himself, kind of plays him goofy. So it's a really
super
nice
goofy.
Fit. Yeah, it's really...
I thought he was doing Bill Murray from Caddyshack for some reason.
So he's doing Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys.
Yeah, it's because there's that part even where he's got that the caddy up against the pole. He has the fork instead of the pitchfork. He's like
Ridley Scott as a filmmaker, looking at his recent movies and stuff. Again, none of them sort of seem to have the cultural impact that his classics, Alien or something, have had. but I feel like he's become like so much of a better filmmaker. Gladiator was sort of known for its like big battle scenes and things like that. I feel like the battle scenes in this were just like
amazing,
blew all that stuff away. Like, yeah, they were so amazing. Like, just he's learned so much, and there was these like surprises and subtlety and twists. And then trying to, when you have these like giant like cast of thousands kind of battles, it's really hard to like kind of communicate what's going on in a clear, seamless way.
Just about to say that, like, you knew like the geography of everything. You weren't ever like, it wasn't like the sky opens up and like millions of like things fly out of it. You're like, what the fuck has even happened? It was like the geography was great. You knew where everything was, and also, I don't know, I thought there was a lot of practical stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of CGI.
I mean, obviously there's going to be CGI, but yeah.
But it felt visceral.
And there was the one battle where it's like they're all standing on ice, and then they start shooting the cannons at the ice.
Great
it's like,
gimmick.
Man, what a great gimmick. And like, is that real? Like, it's such a beautiful like movie gimmick. But that Napoleonic era, like, I think of it with like video games or something. So it's like this guy defined an era and a certain kind of like fighting or whatever, but it feels like very abstract. Like, I guess like the sort of like the sideways hat and stuff. It feels like
with the battles, I really liked that when they raided that fort.
Yeah, early on, yeah.
That was a really well staged action sequence. And
that felt like it could be a cool part of a video game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like really well staged. And there was like the scene in that where he's got his hat like sideways and he turns it like straight up, you know.
And he gets shot through it like a clean, like, oh, the Duke of Wellington, Rupert Everett. Last time I haven't seen him since my best friend's wedding with Julia Roberts, where he was like this young guy, and I see him, he's looking a little older. I'm like, well, where'd all the years go?
There is like a cool scene where it's Napoleon versus the British, and he's got his own, and again, like the loss of life, which they give a bunch of statistics like of like body counts and stuff in the movie, and it's like just so staggering thinking of like all the like just all this
hundreds
all
of thousands of people die in like
in like one afternoon or something.
It was 2.5 hours. So like I wasn't necessarily going to see Napoleon for like historical accuracy, but so they had to like, you know, cover big moments briefly. But I did read that there's a 4.5 hour version waiting in the wings. So we're gonna get like when it streams a 5 hour version.
Because then you can take breaks. You can like spread it out over a week or something. You don't have to like do it all in one sitting. When you see these kind of movies, these old timey movies with the cannons and cannonballs and stuff, like when a cannonball would hit, there'd be this burst of like smoke, but it would be like a burst of like black with like a little bit of red in it, which was like really like just a really interesting touch and something like I haven't seen before, but I thought was like pretty.
Me neither. Firing a cannon is such like a violent like thing for both like the people being shot at and the person like lighting the cannon.
Yeah, because it feels like this kind of like cute ritualized thing that we see in like, you know, pageants or whatever. But it's like, you know, the sense of danger was really nice.
And we were talking early, like during the movie, like the Kubrick Connection.
I mean, it feels a lot. There were some moments that felt like nods to Barry Lyndon.
Yes,
like there were like a couple of scenes where there'd be it was kind of like casino night at the palace or whatever, and it felt very much like the sort of like casino nights, the gamblers and stuff that they would have in Barry Lyndon.
And like the you know, lighting the scene with like candles.
There was like a Kubrick Napoleon. Like Kubrick was working on a Napoleon project that never came to fruition.
The screenplay dated 1969 is available online. 155 pages.
That might be an interesting read. Yeah.
Ridley Scott beat like Spielberg's doing Kubrick's Napoleon limited series.
Yeah, that's interesting to have these like two. You know, there were two Truman Capotes.
Yeah,
you know, at the
Deep
same
Impact
time.
Armageddon.
Yeah. So this is like that, and I enjoyed this a lot, and I want to check out the Spielberg one too. Of course.
And I do want to see the 5 hour cut of this movie to see what else is in there.
A rising tide lifts all boats or whatever. You know, it's not like, oh well, I got Napoleon out of my system. It's like, okay, this Napoleon, somebody that I was never really that interested in or familiar with or curious about. Now it's like, okay, I'm keep the Napoleon movies coming. Maybe Napoleon movies will replace the superhero movie. Now that the superhero movie's kind of on the wane, maybe Napoleon movies are on the way up.
Robert Downey Jr.'s Napoleon.
Yeah.
Napoleon has like a glowing thing on his chest. And he's like, it's like that cannonball shrapnel's working its way to his heart.
You know, when like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies came out, and then Pirates became kind of cool. Maybe like you know, this kind of like Napoleonic stuff. Will be
like the like little kids dressed as Napoleon
for Halloween. Yeah, with the hat.
It's a weird movie and a weird vibe.
Interesting choices. Like I like the choices that they made in it. Joaquin Phoenix is just really fun to watch, and it is like it's a really good character. Like for him to do and to put a movie around, because you maybe grab somebody else from that era and you know it might be kind of stiff, or if you try to like loosen it up, it might seem like unbelievable. But I think like the Napoleon character, like Napoleon as we know him, kind of has like, you know, there's a lot of wiggle room. As like if you imagine like a similar movie but about George Washington or whatever, like you'd be kind of hemmed in, but Napoleon, the kind of figure that he is, gives you like, you know, this
space
range
to play.
Yeah.
And like I think he was just, if I remember correctly, using his own voice for it. He wasn't doing like a Hunt for October thing where
everybody starts speaking French and then
it switches over.
Yeah, real quick.
They're just like, you're pulling a Kevin Costner from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Good time at the movies. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics. I Am Stan, a graphic biography of the legendary Stan Lee, and Jack Kirby's Star Warriors, The Adventures of Adam Star and the Solar Legion. I'm also hard at work on a new superhero comic, WITCHMAN, which just had a successful Kickstarter campaign.
I'm Matt Zeoli.
And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Yeah, we'll see you at the next Napoleon.
We'll see you at the Steven Spielberg Napoleon.